Good morning, students. This is Chiranjeevi Rachapalli. Today we are gonna discuss very important and powerful content, that is what oxidizing and reducing agents. Now I just want to clarify here, this is very powerful and exciting content to those who are giving the examination, but this is not that much powerful or exciting towards the general audience. So you have to excuse, because the exams are very closer. So my content or my focus is mostly towards the examination point of view, not towards the general point of view. Okay. Now what we are going to discuss, that is today's content is oxidizing agent. Now whichever the question paper which you pick, whether it is a MSET, whether it is a JEE Mains or JEE Advanced, or otherwise it is a BITSAT or any local or national engineering entrance examinations. So if they want to make the question somewhat complicated, so they will give you one of the part of it. If the question it want to be a simple one, they will give you as a direct question. So in both way, this is more important content. Now here, since my focus is mostly towards the examination, now most of the students face this particular problem, because the content is so vast. The content is so vast. They start the beginning, and after some completion of the some content, they try to forget the beginning one. So in order to avoid such a things, I'll be giving you the powerful way, a best organized way. You will be remembering everything and you will be doing it the most efficient way. So now I'll give you a broader overlook of it, exactly what we are going to do. So as a first thing, these are the oxidizing agents. Now the most powerful things what we are going to discuss, the content I will discuss. So these are the contents which we are going to discuss. First of all, what is oxidation, then what is reduction, then we will see what are the exactly contents. Now how the questionnaires are there, with very basic thing to very complicated thing. Complicated thing when I say, it does not mean that so much unknown thing. It is a very known things, very small things put together that constitutes what you call as a complex problem. So now first of all, what is the basic definition of oxidation? Now oxidation, whichever the textbook you open, you will find what is oxidation means. Basically in organic textbook you will find oxidation means addition of an oxygen to what? Addition of an oxygen, because it is an organic chemistry, to the carbon, or addition of any more electronegative element than the carbon. But generally whichever the textbook you open up, you will find the addition of oxygen. Why oxygen only they will give, not other definition is, the only reason is oxygen is the second most electronegative element in the total periodic table, available elements. Fluorine is the first one. So generally oxidation definition whichever you see, you will find oxidation means addition of oxygen, rather than they will give you in, they won't give in the most of the textbooks addition of the more electronegative element than the carbon, but it is okay. Now addition of oxygen is what your oxidation. Now that is what is, suppose addition of oxygen is oxidation. In another way, elimination of hydrogen is also you call as a oxidation. Suppose if I am taking this is a particular content, here it is a particular content, that is a ethane molecule I taken up. The ethane molecule which I taken up, I am just adding, let's say a CH3, one oxygen I am adding to it. If I add oxygen, then I will be getting, this is CH3, CH2, OH, an alcohol. This is oxidized product you call, because oxygen I am adding. Let's say I am adding one more oxygen to this, then I will be getting CH3, C double bond oxygen. Generally one more oxygen when you are adding, just insert in the oxygen hydrogen bond on same carbon atom, let's say two OH groups are somewhat lesser stable, eliminate the water, you will get this one. This is another oxidized product. Let's say further oxygen I am giving it to it, then you will get the carboxylic acid, C double bond oxygen OH. So this is the oxidized product of this. This one is oxidized product of aldehyde, and aldehyde oxidized product is carboxylic acid. Now carboxylic acids also further undergoes oxidation with some limitation. Suppose if the carboxylic acid is the first carboxylic acid, that is OH, then this further undergoes to give the carbon dioxide as well as the water. So whether it is undergoing oxidation or not, why it is undergoing, why it is not undergoing, that is what we are going to discuss. First thing. Second thing, in another way is what? You can discuss even this way also. Let's say I have a CH3 molecule. Then remove the hydrogen from it, from adjacent carbons. Adjacent carbons, when I am removing the hydrogen, I will be getting CH2 double bond CH2. Further, one more mole of hydrogen you remove, you will get the CH triple bond and CH. So this one is one of the oxidized product of it. This is the next oxidized product of it. So in both ways, I can say oxidation is what? My addition of oxygen. A reduction is what? Elimination of hydrogen. Now I restrict myself to the definition of oxidation and reduction with respect to the oxygen addition or hydrogen addition, because most of the content is based on it. Now in general way, in inorganic chemistry or general chemistry, when you are studying, in terms of electron movement, you will be giving oxidation or reduction. Now your oxidation is removal of electron from a compound, or reduction is addition of a electron, but that content we don't discuss here, because most of the reactions are complex. At the end, individual step may be involving electron transfer, so that gives the complication. So that's why oxidation or reduction will go with respect to this one only. Now what we are going to discuss in this one, the contents are, there are these are the following oxidizing agents, some of the oxidizing agents. Now we said that is oxygen addition or hydrogen removal, but the question comes, who will add the oxygen or who will remove the hydrogen? So these are some of the agents or some of the chemical reagents which does this job. So those we call as a oxidizing agents or reducing agent, corresponding if it is a reduction. So oxidizing, which are the oxidizing agents? Oxidizing agents are what? The oxygen carriers, oxygen giving to the particular carbon. Those are what your oxidizing agents. Now I categorize the total oxidizing agent into two ways. One is metal based, the second one is non-metal based. If you look at the metal based oxidizing agents, the first chromium I will start with. There is a chromium based oxidizing agents, that is H2CrO4. Then second one you call Jones reagent. Then third one Corey's reagent, that itself you call PCC, most famous reagent for your even all type of exams. Then you will get PFC, rarely you find in any textbook, but this is also one of the just modification to what you call the Corey's reagent, that is PCC reagent. Then comes the PDC, this is also in every textbook you will find, or in every examination you will be finding a questions based on this. Then Sarrett's reagent, a just modification to again your PCC. Then comes the your Collins reagent. So again it is a modification to this. So there are total of 8 reagents are there, Etod reaction, another one. These 8 reagents you will find in the textbook in different form. You feel that suppose you don't find anywhere like a Sarrett reagent, or you don't find anywhere as a Collins reagent in the textbook as a name, but they will inherent there actually. So how these will appear, or how these carries the oxygen, which one is the best one? Now why I need these many oxidizing agents? If chromium itself is having these many different ways, there are manganese is there are so many D block elements are there, P block elements are there, how many I should remember all those things? So we will give a powerful way to even remember also, but these are very much correlate to each other. They are very much correlate to each other. If I know perfectly one thing, then you will be knowing the remaining all other things also very easily. So these are what your chromium based reagents. Now comes the other metals. Other metal based reagents, very quickly I will go through it, then we will start with the very beginning one, that is KMnO4, then Penton's reagent, that is iron based, then osmium tetroxide, then Tollens reagent, then Benedict solution, copper and failing solution, then comes mercuric acetate, then lead acetate, and it comes selenium dioxide. So these are the 16 most powerful oxidizing agents which carries the metal. Actually it is having the metal and oxide. In all of this, a metal is attached to oxygen. In all of these, wherever you see, it is not other element, a metal oxide is there. Now what are those metal oxide? Now first one, sir, you said first one, when you come back to the 16th one, we forget everything. But how to remember all those things without opening any textbook or anywhere every time? So how to keep in your memory until the final examination? That we will discuss, it is a very thing. There are again non-metal based also. Now I will switch to this. Now, so many 16 reagents I written so far. The 16 reagents, how do you remember these things? The 16 reagents are nothing but, if you remember now you should have some idea that periodic table, at least you have to remember throughout. If suppose you want to play with chemistry, every time you should have in your mind that periodic table. Otherwise what? You will remember something and you will forget the next thing. If periodic table is your tool, if it is there in your memory, then everything you can interlink to it. The possibility that you will forget the things are very less if you have the complete periodic table in your picture. If not complete thing, at least main group elements, that is S block elements, P block elements and 3D series. Now, how that works out? Let us say I will write the 3D series. 3D series, that is your scandium, a titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper and zinc. At the copper, just I want to extend this iron, ruthenium and osmium. I will extend here also somewhat copper, silver and gold, but not required. Zinc I will extend here, zinc, cadmium and mercury, Hg. Look at it. Now, you have a oxidizing agent everywhere starting from here. You see, most of the other elements also having oxidizing agent, but that is not the content of our syllabus. Now, look at it, chromium based, vanadium based oxidizing agents, V2O5, that is V2O5. For our aromatic compounds oxidation, mostly it is used. In inorganic chemistry also it will be used in the contact process, that is the production of the sulfuric acid. So, that is not our point of discussion. Most importantly, we will discuss these things. Chromium based, there are 8 reagents are there. Chromium, it is having the 8 reagents, that is your chromic acid, second one is after chromic acid Jones reagent, then third one is PCC, the fourth one is PFC, the fifth one is PDC, the sixth one is your Collins reagent, the seventh one is your Sarret reagent and the eighth one is the Etod reaction. So, it is having 8 reagents chromium. So, if you know this series 8 reagents, it should be fixed in your mind. Then comes what? Manganese. Manganese has 2 reagents which are important for the examination point of view. Now, what are they? KMnO4 is the one thing, second one is what? MnO2 is the second one. KMnO4 in acid medium acts differently, in basic medium it acts differently, in cold condition it acts differently, in hot condition it acts differently. So, it has the 2, that is KMnO4 as well as MnO2. Then comes to iron, it is a Fenton's reagent, one reagent which we will discuss, iron plus 2 compound. Then osmium tetroxide OSO4, one reagent with this one downward element. Then cobalt, nickel, we do not discuss, those oxidizing agents are not part of our syllabus. So, if you see copper, copper is having 3 reagents. The elemental copper itself acts as an oxidizing agent. Here in your textbook you will find this, that is alcohols are there at copper at 300 degrees centigrade, they will be converting into aldehydes like this. You will find in your normal textbook. What is happening there? Suppose if you check that, we said that is suppose this is alcohol is there, CH2OH, copper at 300 degrees centigrade, when you are using it, what happens? It removes the 2 hydrogens, CH3, C double bond oxygen hydrogen. So, one of the example of where hydrogen is removed. So, elemental copper acts as an oxidizing agent. There are 2 more reagents are there which are even also used as a detecting agents. What are they? One is Benedict solution, another is Failing solution. So, with copper there are 3 are there. With silver there is a Tollens reagent. So, one is there. Now, zinc is not there. With mercury, mercuric acetate is there, that is alkene addition you use, that one. Then come back to your next one, P block element. In the P block element you will find boron, aluminum, with aluminum one reagent is there, that is open or oxidation. Then no, carbon, silicon, germanium, then tin, lead comes, lead tetraestate, POAC taken 4 times, lead tetraestate is the another one. Then comes the nitrogen, concentrated HNO3, one of the powerful oxidizing agent again. Then comes the halogen, X2 in base acts as a oxidizing agent in the haloform reaction, much famous reagent, halogen family. Then HiO4 is the another one. So, there are non-metal based also. So, these are not metals, here these are not metals. Non-metal based, when you look at it, you will find para-acids, one with the carbon, that is para-acids is with the carbon. Then with nitrogen, this is HNO3, with halogens X2 and HiO4, with sulfur, that is Fens oxidation is there, then Abel's oxidation is there. These are the with the sulfur reagents are there. So, these are the total oxidizing agents, list of total oxidizing agents. Now, when we look at one by one, the first one, chromium, most interesting, and most of the time in any examination you will find mostly with chromium reagents. So, we will start with the chromium reagents. If chromium as an oxidizing agent, now what it exactly does? So, this oxidizing agent, if I write, that is chromic acid. Chromium based oxidizing agents, there are 8 are there, that is chromic acid I will write H2CrO4. If I write its structure, it looks like just like a sulfuric acid structure. There is chromium, double bond oxygen, a double bond oxygen, OH and OH. This is what your chromic acid. If you look at this is a chromic acid. First of all, before moving into what is its functionality, this chromic acid can be given in any of this form. It may be given its oxide, that is CrO3 in aqueous acid, or it may be given in the form of this. It's a salt. Its a salt is what? Like Na2CrO4 once again in aqueous acid, or it may be given another salt. It's a dimeric form of it, like Na2Cr2O7 in aqueous acid, or K2Cr2O7 in aqueous acid. So, whichever the way they are giving like this, either this way or this way, it is indirectly it is what is giving your H2CrO4 is giving H2CrO4. Now, what it does exactly? Now, if suppose my alcohols are there, the functionality of it, the functions of it, if you look at it, your alcohols are, we are taking a primary alcohol. If I take, let us say a CH3, hydrogen and hydrogen, this is OH. So, it is a primary alcohol I taken up. So, if I treat it with the chromic acid, that is Cr, double bond oxygen, here it is OH. Now, it first of all gives what you call chromate ester. Now, this type of reaction in mechanism, process, all those things, how the reaction is moving on, you do not find in the textbook, normal textbook, but you will find the same reaction like esterification reaction, which is very similar. There it is given what? Your organic acid they will be providing, and here it is what? It is an inorganic acid is providing. It is nothing different. They won't give you direct mechanism with the chromic acid, but it is already given with the organic acid. That is organic acid and alcohol reaction, esterification. It is also a esterification reaction only. It is not the different thing. Now, what it gives is, first of all, it provides an ester, that is hydrogen, a hydrogen. This is oxygen, Cr double bond oxygen, here it is OH. So, this is an ester one. Now, this ester you call as a chromate ester. A chromate ester it forms. So, most of the next categories 8 whatever I given, which depends on this first step. Look at it. First of all, it forms the chromate ester. In the second step, what it gives is the CH3 by elimination of water. This is minus water I written. So, hydrogen, then this is oxygen, Cr double bond oxygen, here it is OH. Now, you will find in some of the textbooks that the solvent whatever you are using as a water or any other solvents, like in the PCC when you are using a pyridine or in any other cases, will be picking this hydrogen. In another cases, some of the other textbooks will give you this oxygen is picking this hydrogen. So, it will give you this step is this. Actually what? It removes this hydrogen. Now, this bond appears as a double bond. It leaves this system towards the oxygen. So, what you will get is a CH3, C double bond oxygen, hydrogen, an aldehyde, a carbonyl compound you get. This is a carbonyl compound we got. Then along with that what? This is a Cr, this opens up O minus double bond oxygen OH. Now the question is, most of the different textbooks, even different journals also gives you differently. Now this hydrogen, who is carrying or who is picking this hydrogen? In some cases you will be provided water is picking this hydrogen. In some cases, in some textbooks you will find this oxygen, whatever it is there present here, this only picking this hydrogen. In some cases, if pyridine is used, pyridine is picking this hydrogen. So whichever the way it is given, the final ultimate is what? This hydrogen will be leaving. Now all of these are correct only, nothing is wrong in that. But most of the cases you will find in tetrahedron letters that the oxygen is picking the hydrogen. Some of our even NPTEL also will providing the same mechanism. The other one, some textbooks will giving you water as acting as a base. So you will get this compound. Now this is the gist of the later reagents. What it is, I got the carbonyl compound. Now whether I have to stop the reaction at the carbonyl stage or at a different stage, that depends on what I want exactly. Suppose if I want to stop this reaction here only, so I have to employ a special methods. Now what happens afterwards is, this aldehydes, if water is solvent is present, if water solvent is present, this aldehydes adds to the water, since it is a medium is an acid, and it will give you COH, OH and hydrogen. This is what you call gem diols. This is what you call is a carbonyl compound. So if a water content is there in the reaction mixture, it will go for this equilibrium. Even though geminal diols are very lesser stable, it contains around 0.001%, still it is mostly of this one only. Still, if suppose if I remove this, reaction moves in the forward direction, Le Chatelier's principle, the total of the aldehyde will be converting into this as soon as if I remove this. So if I once again, if I, since the reaction is consisting of the chromic acid, this chromic acid what it does, it undergoes a similar step with the OH and it will end up with the CH3, C double bond oxygen, hydrogen, and this further OH, sorry, this will give you CH3, carboxylic acid, a carboxylic acid it will give. Further it does not undergo reaction. Now further why it cannot undergo reaction is, even though suppose if I expect this step, that is this chromic acid is giving you this type of chromate ester, further on the adjacent carbon there is no hydrogen, thereby the reaction stops at the carboxylic acid stage here. Now in order to modify it, suppose I want to stop the reaction at this stage only, you have to remove the water from this. Okay, that is a one thing which you have to see. Now if this same reagent, if I am using a methanol, that is a methanol is present, CH3OH, this as a first step it gives you an aldehyde. This further undergoes reaction to give a carboxylic acid. This further undergoes reaction to give carbon dioxide plus water. So when you are looking at the chromic acid, that is CrO4, H2CrO4, this reagent, the requirement for it to oxidize is what? When you look at the rate determining step there, you will find somewhere one requirement is OH presence, the other requirement is on the same carbon hydrogen presence. So on the same carbon OH should be there and hydrogen should be there. If these two are present, then that gives the oxidation. Now look at here. This one is in equilibrium if water is present, OH, OH and hydrogen. So my requirement is fulfilled over here. According to the process here, it is OH is there, here hydrogen is there. So this requirement is fulfilled over here, it will convert to the carboxylic acid. Now if you look at here once again, this is consisting of your OH on the same carbon hydrogen. So it further undergoes to reaction to give the carbon dioxide and water. Now if I go with a primary alcohol other than your methanol, CH2OH, So, in this case hydrogen on the same carbon, this requirement is fulfilled. One OH is present, the another one hydrogen is present. So, this will give you with the same reagent CH3 C double bond oxygen hydrogen, that is what your aldehyde, then it will converts to once again a diol form CH3, this is OH and hydrogen. So, it is fulfilling this requirement, OH is present over here, hydrogen is present. Now, what it gives is a carboxylic acid C double bond oxygen OH. But here the reaction stop at this stage because we don't fulfill this condition, that is OH is present and hydrogen on the same carbon. This carbon does not contain any hydrogen. So, further oxidation is not present over here. So, all it is requirement on the chromic acid for alcohols is one OH group, another is on the same carbon hydrogen. If these are present, it will give you the corresponding progress of the reaction. The first step of it carbonyl compound, then carboxylic acid, that carboxylic acid even further will give you carbon dioxide and water, provided if it is a methanol. Rest of all other alcohols will stop at the carboxylic acid stage. Now, if I take the secondary alcohol, that is CH3, this is OH and one more CH3, this is a secondary alcohol. This carbon is present, this carbon is attached to two more carbons, so it is a secondary carbon, you call secondary alcohol. If I use the same reagent, my condition what I am looking for, it is fulfilled. This carbon contains the hydrogen and OH is present, this converts to the carbonyl compound. So, I will get CH3 C double bond oxygen and CH3. Now, this further does not undergo reaction even though the diol is present here, CH3 COH OH and CH3. This condition it is not fulfilling, OH is present, but there is no hydrogen on the same carbon. So, it stops at the ketonic stage. So, that is what. So, here actually the major thing is the hydrogen breaking from it. Carbon hydrogen bond energy is lower, it can be, we can break the carbon hydrogen bond easily in comparison to a carbon single bond carbon. So, carbon single bond carbon bond energy is higher in comparison to carbon hydrogen. Thereby, this process is taking place, but when it comes to the carbon, this process stops. But this process also continues, that is carbonyl compound, that is ketones whatever you got will further oxidize to give the carboxylic acids with a lesser number of carbons, provided if somewhere it is provided, it is a drastic condition or vigorous oxidation. These terms if you are finding, it means what you are asking to find even the further product, but with this one we will stop here. Now, what exactly is with this one? What is the learning point here towards the examination point of view? The learning point is, one is carbon hydrogen bond energy is lesser, this can be easily broken comparative to a carbon single bond carbon. I can break this bond easily in comparison to this. So, wherever carbon hydrogen is there along with the chromate ester formed, then that gives the compound. Let us say I will take this example. For example, a tertiary alcohol is there, CH3 OH, this is CH3 CH3, chromic acid I am using. When I use the chromic acid, that is OH, Cr double bond oxygen OH. Now, what it gives? The chromate ester it gives, simply I write here OH this side, CH3 is this side. A chromic acid it gives, that chromic acid I will write here, it is OH and hydrogen removal. A chromate ester as soon as you are getting, does it undergo further reaction or not, we will check. That is CH3 that is CH3 OCr double bond oxygen OH. Now, this is a chromate ester is formed here on this carbon. In order to pick this one, there is no hydrogen, there is no bond formation, this is carbon single bond carbon breaking is difficult. So, generally tertiary alcohol does not give the oxidation, further oxidation, but there is, let us say I will take another example. This is allyl tertiary alcohols. allyl tertiary alcohols. Suppose I will take this compound. This is a OH group is there. Now, what is the allylic compound? The allylic compounds are, what is allylic one? So, this is a carbon 1, carbon 2 if I give, suppose, this is not IUPAC numbering, sorry, just double bond numbering, somewhere random numbering I am giving, 1, 2 and 3. So, this is a double bond, next carbon you call as an allylic carbon. So, this is one of the allylic carbon, this is another allylic carbon. Now, if you look at it, this is a tertiary alcohol. So, same tertiary alcohol, here it is not giving the tertiary, here tertiary alcohol not giving the, corresponding carboxylic acid. Let us check here, this is also a tertiary alcohol, a special case, whether it gives the carboxylic acid or oxidation product or not, that we will check. Now, in this one, when I treat it with the chromic acid, that is OH, Cr double bond oxygen, here it is OH. As a first step, it forms the chromate ester. So, I will be getting Cr double bond oxygen, here it is OH. The second step is what? Generally, as soon as this chromate ester is formed, nearby it is picking a hydrogen. On this one, do we have any hydrogen? No. So, here on this carbon we do not have any hydrogen, carbon-carbon bond is difficult to break, but I will make a point over here. C double bond C is there. A pi bond is easy to break comparative to a sigma bond. So, this knowledge we will get from the chemical bonding, even though in textbooks we will find tertiary alcohol does not give this reaction with chromic acid, but there is an exception. What is that exception? That is, if the tertiary alcohol is at allylic position, then that gives the reaction. Now, what is the important content of it? Because the reaction depending on the bond energy, whether if nearby a easily breakable bond is there or not, that is carbon hydrogen bond is easily breaking. Similarly, a pi bond I can break easily. I am not speaking about the total 2 bonds. This pi bond can be easily broken because it is a partial overlapping, the bond formation taking place with the partial overlapping. So, here it comes. Now, this one if I write as a single bond, this is O minus C plus, it is attaching at this center and this moves in this direction, this bond breaks here to the oxygen. So, what you will get is another compound, here it is oxygen, Cr double bond oxygen, a double bond oxygen OH. This is double bond. Now, this chromate has shifted its position, double bond comes here, this chromate comes here. Now, why this shifting is taking place is, there is a prone group is there here, it is easily it shifts because this can be attacking. Now, later look at it. Now, this chromate ester from here it can be removed further as a hydrogen. Here hydrogen is there on the same carbon, here hydrogen is there. This hydrogen at this center, is there. I will use it as a double bond. This oxygen is picking the hydrogen. Then you will end up with what? The corresponding carbonyl compound with along with the Cr double bond oxygen, OH and OH. A chromium plus 4 compound which is unstable, later on it will be dissociating or disproportionating to give chromium plus 6 and chromium plus 3 compound. So, one of the learning point here with this one is what? Even though this chromic acid does not react in general with the tertiary alcohol, but if the tertiary alcohol is at this center, if the tertiary alcohol comes out to be a allylic one, because of the easy breaking of the carbon pi bond, this will give you the corresponding carbonyl compound. That is the one thing. But in generally most of the textbooks does not mention this. You will find if this type of question in Himanshu Pandey book, you can even go through them. Let us say another one. In no textbook these gives, but generally If suppose the same point I will be picking, what is it? Generally the rate determining step, or what is it? The carbon hydrogen bond breaking is what the gist of the reaction. So pi bond, if one case is there, that is one way. There is another one. There is another one. The second one is, suppose there is an alcohol is there. There is an alcohol is there. Let us say hydrogen. Now we are expecting this with the chromic acid. The product comes out to be carbonyl compound. Then this further undergoes reaction to give the corresponding carboxylic acid. This is what generally we expect with the chromic acid. Generally we expect with this one the product to form this way. Now do we get these products along with this? Suppose if it is a JE question. Now this is a primary alcohol, we are expecting the carbonyl compound, that carbonyl compound gives the carboxylic acid. If I give you, these are the options with the chromic acid. One of the product is, what are the possible products? Carbonyl compound. The another product is a carboxylic acid. The another product is an ester, etc. Now what are the possible products in the reaction mixture as a more than one option question if I am giving. So here it is. First of all, it will convert to the carbonyl compound. Now how you are preparing or how you are carrying out this reaction will depend. Now this carbonyl compound, whatever it is formed, this carbonyl compound some quantity even reacts with the some more quantity of alcohol, and it will give you, that is what, OH hydrogen, a hemiacetal first of all, that is a CH3 OH hydrogen, then OCH3, OCH2 and CH3. This is a hemiacetal. The hemiacetal further undergoes oxidation to give what? The corresponding esters. So this is one more. It is directly you don't find, but this is the question. If suppose my alcohols are converting into the carbonyl compound, so there is always possibility that these two also can be reacting in the reaction mixture. Depending on how you are carrying out that particular experimental process, you will get the hemiacetals, because medium is acid only. Then hemiacetal further undergoes reaction to give the corresponding esters. So one of the product even you will get as a ester also in this reaction mixture, along with the carbonyl compounds and even carboxylic acids. But major product is what? When I am using the chromic acid, the major product comes out to be the carboxylic acid. Now comes, if suppose if I am using PCC, pyridinium chlorochromate, or remaining PDC, any of these, what exactly it is happening? So in that case, in such a case, if I use a PCC, that is pyridinium chlorochromate, a pyridine molecule, this is solvent, acts as a solvent, then HCl plus CrO3. Generally chromic acid, how we are getting that CrO3 when I am using the aqueous acid? Then it will give you chromic acid, H2CrO4. Aqueous acid means what? Water content is also there. Now when I use this reagent, a PCC, there is no water content. When there is no water content, if I get the alcohol, first alcohol, this gives you the corresponding carbonyl compound. Then this carbonyl compound will give you geminal diols if water is present. Actually this undergoes reaction with the chromic acid. The geminal diols will undergo the reaction with the chromic acid. Now what we are modifying with the chromic acid is, instead of water, we are taking the HCl. There is no water content. When there is no water content, you don't get any geminal diols. This gem diols, the probability to get the gem diols are hindered, are not possible. In that case, this reaction further does not go to completion. So the reaction stops at the carbonyl stage when I am using the PCC. But there is a problem with this one as well. If suppose my compound is consisting of it, if my compound is consisting of it, let us say if my compound is consisting of OH is there, somewhere it is a multiple bond is there, a double bond is there, or any other acid sensitive group is there. Since the reaction mixture also consisting of HCl, there is possibility it can affect the multiple bond, double bond as well. But be careful, I does not mean that this reagent will also react with the double bond. The way how you are preparing the HCl, this reagent will influence this double bond also, whether it is reacting or not. When I am using PCC, in general it is compatible with the multiple bonds, but there is always a prone for it also attacks the multiple bond because HCl also present in the reaction mixture. So general expectation is I am expecting a product to form a multiple bond like this and here, but there is some quantity it may even go for the double bond attacking also, even though your textbooks will give you this double bond, it won't be affecting with the PCC, your HCl is there. In order to give the modification to it, the another reagent what we call PFC is used. The PFC what we use is the pyridine plus HF plus CrO3. Now HF is a even much weaker acid compared to HCl. The possibility it can attack the multiple bond is very less. The possibility it can attack the multiple bond is very lesser one. So this is another modification to the PCC. Now I repeat once again, if suppose there is a question, if somebody is asking question, here it is multiple bond is there and OH is there. Now does it affect the multiple bond, means it is no. For examination point of view, our questions are there, but there is always HCl is there, means depending on whether you are how you are preparing, that also affects it. Now this is about it. Now your PDC or remaining reagents also mostly that is a modification where your water content is lessened, your water content is going to be lessened. So these are about some of the modification to this reagent, and the rest of all other reagents whatever you pick, generally all the chromium based reagent, it is try to avoid the water content in it, in the reagents whatever you take, remaining 8 reagents, in all the 8 reagents. If suppose you are taking the another one, let us say PDC also, when you are taking PDC, that is chromium is there, 2 moles of pyridine is there, dichromate Cr2O7 and 2 moles of pyridine. Or if you are taking any other reagent, Collins reagent is there, Collins reagent is CrO3 plus 2 moles of pyridine, your Sarets reagent is there, the solvent is CH2Cl2, your Collins Sarets reagent is there, that is CrO3 plus 2 moles of pyridine. So it is having some basically a bit difference when you are using different solvent, or whether it is a basic component or acidic component. So what type of reagent I have to use depending on whether acid sensitive groups are there or base sensitive groups are there in the compound. Suppose if my compound is consisting of a multiple bond here, if I were asked to give a reagent, best reagent among all these possibilities, whether I have to use PCC or PFC or otherwise a Collins reagent or otherwise a Sarets reagent, so which one I have to pick? Since your double bond is bit acid sensitive, so the best reagent for this, if I am using it, is a Collins reagent rather than it is using a PCC. If suppose a same compound is consisting of a base sensitive group, any other base sensitive group, OH is there, a base sensitive group is there, it means it reacts with the base, any type of compound it reacts with the base. In such case I will be using best way as a PCC or PFC. So these are the some of the contents based on it. Okay, thank you all.